One of our favorite times of the week, get to talk with Bill King, the king of college football out of Nashville Sports Radio. He is the morning host 6 to 9. Bill lives right outside Nashville, and as a longtime resident of the Volunteer State, Bill. Now, our co-host here, Drew Barrett, is from Memphis, and he is banned from using the name of the Forbidden City. But today, I didn't realize it because it's September the 1st. It's 901 Day. So give us some perspective on how your part of Tennessee views Memphis, specifically for the ears of somebody who is extremely proud of the 901.
He knows this. It is a rivalry.
It is.
And there's a dislike between the two. And I don't mean, people necessarily dislike each other because they're from one part or the other. Not the case at all. But the cities, there is a huge rivalry there. And I think one of the reasons, it dates back further, was Memphis thought they would get a pro football team. Mm-hmm. And really, I remember Pepper Rogers coming to town promoting it from Memphis years prior to when the Titans ended up, the Oilers ended up in Nashville. And that's one of the rivalries, but he'll tell you, Memphis versus Nashville has been a thing for many, many decades, and it's personal. I'll say this. I was on the radio one time, and we were just talking about the dental business. My son just started his dental school at Louisville, but a lot of my friends went to dental school at Memphis, UT Memphis, and I remember saying on our radio show, our sports talk show one time, a lot of my friends that went there, the only thing they didn't like about it is they hated living in Memphis. And I had people in Memphis mad about that. It wasn't even me. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's a huge rivalry.
It is, Bill. And, you talk about the football team that Memphis thought they were going to get. I've heard stories of where the city of Memphis thought they were getting the Baltimore Colts, that the Ursays were going to move to Memphis instead of Indianapolis. And Ursay takes a phone call in the airport in front of city councilman members and representatives of the city, says he's got to make a phone call, and then jumps on a plane and leaves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is a thing.
It is a real thing.
Well, let's get into before we get into what we might see this week, I don't think A&M has announced it yet, although Jimbo Fisher is speaking to the media this afternoon. But tacking on, 3 more years, extending his contract to 10 years from right now and giving him a raise. And we kind of forget, Alabama did win the national championship last year. Texas A&M finished 4th. I mean, this is the best they've been in a long time. I guess this extension for Jimbo makes sense.
Speaking of Memphis, Jimmy Sexton, just put a little bit more money in his big pockets. Yeah, that's I didn't know that was trending. I'm not shocked. A&M will spend money. They are not. They're probably the least afraid of any university athletic department in America to spend money, and I don't know that that's all that shocking.
Yeah, and I mean they announced Haynes King as the starting quarterback, and I guess we kind of expected that moving in there. He's different from Kellen Mond, and the idea that Mond could kind of get away from pressure a little bit. King is a guy that will run with the football and run a lot.
He is reportedly, and I've watched a lot of his film, but sub 4.5 guy, and he's 6'3", 205, 210. He's a very once he gets his reps, he will be a problem, and he may be a problem fast, but he's a dual threat more so than what they've had. Absolutely.
Do you think that he has the ability and has the potential to have a season to put him ahead of other quarterbacks in the SEC, ahead of your Bryce Youngs and your Matt Corrals?
Don't know that he will put up the numbers that Lane Kiffin will put up with Matt Corral, because it's not the same philosophy. And you got to also remember that Isaiah Miller at running back. They've got a couple of running backs, but he's an absolute horse. And he's going to get his touches, and he should. He's 225 pounds of a ton of man right there coming at you, and a home run threat. So I wouldn't think this would be that year.
Billy, obviously, biggest game of the weekend in the SEC and in all of college football is Georgia taking on Clemson in Charlotte, and it still appears you're not quite sure like who the weapons are for JT Daniels to throw the ball to. So if I'm looking at Georgia potentially picking up an upset over Clemson, and the Tigers are a 3-point favorite, it's going to take a massive defensive performance against DJ Uiagalelei.
There's a problem both ways here, guys. The defensive lines, Clemson and Georgia, might be the two best defensive lines in America. And their matchup with the offensive lines is a clear advantage, both ways now. Not just one way or the other, but both ways. And to me, that's where you can look and see who's winning the battle there. Whoever's able to get to the quarterback, and I don't want to be too obvious, too simplistic, but I think that's going to be a stat maybe along with turnovers in every game, that we look at. I don't know that I see a clear advantage. I see some picking Georgia, some picking Clemson. I think it's a dead even ball game, really. If I were to have to bet on that game, I don't know what I would do. I do not have a feel. I hate to say that. It's not good radio, but I don't have a clear feel for the outcome of this game. And frankly, guys, as long as it's close, neither team's eliminated from anything.
Yeah, as long as it's a close game and, Georgia's able to come out of the SEC East, it's still anybody's ball game, and who's really going to compete with Clemson in the ACC. But, Bill, from the best game of the week in the SEC to possibly the worst game of the week in Tennessee and Bowling Green, Tennessee right now, I think, a 5-touchdown favorite over a bad Bowling Green program. How is the Josh Heupel era going to start over there in Knoxville?
Joe Milton, he's loved Joe Milton. Joe's from Orlando, and obviously that's where Coach Heupel used to coach. And so there's been a relationship there for a long time, even when he selected Michigan out of high school. And he got him there, and he thinks he's got his hands on a legit difference-making quarterback. Now, I've got to see that. I didn't see it at Michigan. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't standout good either. I think offensively, guys, they're going to be pretty good. A lot better than last year. Number one, because of the coaching situation on offense. And there's talent there. They've got good receivers. They lost 2 running backs, one to Oklahoma, one to North Carolina. They're still pretty good there. Offensive line will be decent. And if the quarterback's clicking, they'll have a good offense this year. Bowling Green's terrible, obviously. So that's not a measurement. But if they play better, I don't think they're going to get many people stopped. And I think defense will be equally as bad, and it'll maybe be even worse than what you've seen. They're going to have to win games 35-31 if they win games. And obviously, we already know they can't match up with Alabama. They don't match up with Georgia. They don't match up with Florida. We can go on down the line. So it'll be interesting to see them get to 6-6 if they can.
If there's one SEC team that you could see suffering an upset, and I don't know how much of an upset you'd call it because of the betting line, but you wouldn't expect LSU to lose to UCLA even though the game is being played in the Rose Bowl. But had to get out of Baton Rouge because of the hurricane, going on the road, flying across the country against a team that's already played. I know, Dorian Robinson-Thompson can be a dynamic quarterback. I don't know. There's something about the situation with LSU. And I know a lot of people are expecting a bounce-back year from last season. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but just from the circumstances from the last week, I just feel like, you could understand an LSU loss in this game.
Yeah, I think they left out Friday to go to Houston. And instead of 4 hours, it took them 10 because of everybody trying to get the heck out their buses. But they've been in Houston, and I think they're working out over at Reliant. Anyways, and UCLA never has much of a home crowd, at least not anymore. Last year, of course, you weren't allowed to have anybody. And I know LSU fans, I know they were going to have a ton of people out there. I don't know how much of this has derailed them, meaning Hurricane Ida. They're the better team. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a dynamic athlete who runs totally hot or totally cold, and he's still not very good in the passing game. I didn't get to watch the Hawaii game because I was traveling to Louisville all Saturday and coming back, so I didn't get to see it. I watched some of the highlights, but I do think Chip has solidified the program out there, though, and I think this could be – LSU is going to have to play down some to them, but it could be interesting.
It could. There's a lot of distractions going on, and we've seen teams slip up when things like this are going on around their families and their own personal lives. And you hope Edo and the rest of the coaching staff can keep their heads on straight, and they ultimately will kill UCLA like most of us think they will. But, Bill, we have a question for you from our text line from Jeremiah. He wants to know where you think KJ Jefferson stacks up in a ranking with SEC quarterbacks. I'm guessing this comes from I saw it early this morning, could have been released yesterday, a list of SEC quarterbacks from a media member that had KJ last, and I think like 3 behind the GA at South Carolina.
Are you talking about JJ that played at LSU in 2011?
No, KJ Jefferson.
KJ Jefferson.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I said KJ. I might have misspoke. But.
Yeah, South Carolina is playing a former, I think mostly backup at North Dakota State, who joined their staff, the Beamer staff, to be a GA. And when they got their starter hurt a couple of weeks back, they put the pads on him, and he's going to be their starter. Anyways, so again, what's the question? How would I rank him where now?
Where would you rank him 1 through 14 and for SEC quarterbacks going into his first real starting season?
Yeah, I would probably – it's not a real deep quarterback here in the league. I'd probably have him somewhere in the 10 area just to start with.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully he'll get higher ranked as the season goes on. If you're thinking that way, then probably going to be a successful year for Arkansas. Bill, enjoy – I guess maybe you're watching UAB Jacksonville State tonight, or just enjoy the games you're watching this week, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thanks,
Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. Yeah, I probably will skip UAB Jacksonville State.
I'll turn it on.
I'm at least going to listen to Sam Pittman live today here on ESPN Arkansas.
Bill Clark's got a good squad out there in Birmingham.
Brought to you by Baxter Regional Medical Center. They're looking for people that want more than just a job right now. Baxter Regional Medical Center assists you in becoming an EMT or a paramedic. If you've got passion to help others, want the opportunity to work with an involved team and learn from the best, this is the chance. It takes 1 semester to become an EMT, 3 to 4 semesters to become a paramedic, and you can get complete certification or degree without student loan debt. If you want more than just a job, Baxter Regional Medical Center has the opportunity. 870-508-1883, baxterregional.org for more info. Wrapping halftime up.
It's that time of the year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron to start the football season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all of the pro and college football action this season. Get all of the updated odds, props, and contests, including the online's biggest $500,000 NFL mega contest, the world's largest 200,000 NFL Survivor contest, open now at BetOnline. Here's what you have to do. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% welcome bonus. Take advantage of their opening day super promo. Make a bet on the Thursday, September 9th season opener between the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. And if you lose, your wager's going to be refunded for up to $25 for new customers only when signing up and using the promo code NFL100. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.